Welcome back to Trekyards, everybody. He is Commander Cut.
He is Captain 30.
Do you remember that time you were stuck in a cave? Because I do. They're dark, they're wet, they all look the same. They all look like paper mache and... man.
But you know what? Has a charm. The smell, the look, the way I could scrape off and see the wood underneath. The wood grain of those caves was really, comforting in dark times. Especially at one time as I scrape away a bit and saw a hole, and I saw the craft table through the hole, and I thought, oh, that's so exciting. That's so exciting.
Yeah, those sandwiches looked pretty good.
Yeah, the cave was good too, but the sandwiches through the cave was great. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
In case you can't tell, we're here to talk about an episode called Caves.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Lower Decks.
All right.
It is.
Okay.
Season 4, episode 8. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
what do you think, Stuart? We're nearing the end. There was no element of the big bad storyline whatsoever. This was, in fact, a bottle show inside a made bottle. Freshly made bottle.
This was a clip show without being a clip show. And it's kind of fun, actually. I got a good laugh at the beginning about all the caves look the same. And like 1/3 of our missions are in caves. Very reminiscent of like TNG and, Voyager and stuff like that. So I thought it was kind of fun. And yeah, I mean, I knew the Tendi story was going to needed to be said at some point. Mariner kept cutting her off, but overall I thought it was fun to go back to like the first episode of Lower Decks and see a little bit more of that. So some crazy stuff happened. We got babies, we got conspiracies, we've got Vendorians. I mean, hey, yeah, we also got Delta Shift. So I mean, hey, there's a lot here. It was kind of fun. I kind of enjoyed it, but yeah, it didn't really, I mean, it was cool to see them all teamed up again, because they even made a point of saying since they got promoted, they don't really get teamed up anymore. So yeah, there was a lot. It was fun. It was a fun episode. I don't know where it sits in my ranking though, as far as score goes. We'll have to wait and see about when we do the live. But I enjoyed it. How about you?
Yeah, it was. I've said this for many a year. I love the idea of doing a clip show of new clips, because it breaks your brain a little bit. We're all accustomed to this. I saw that a year ago. Oh, that vibe. But then suddenly it's a new clip. It both creates that lulment of annoyance while then being, well, anything can happen, right? So that was fun. And I did like the gag of the cave, because you really do become very used to the fact that the cave set is the same in every flashback with minor changes, which I thought was fun. Again, this is a good use of the Trek internal logic, the external logic, and a joke within a joke. So that was all clever. Of course, when you're doing 4 individual stories, which I recall Prodigy did a similar episode where they all did an origin story, and they had radically different quality levels for us, to the point of, you want to skip some and then really enjoy the others. This, I thought they were all on a closer par, because they all had an interesting idea. Of course, none of them were visually interesting because they were all in a cave. But they all had a sci-fi trope, right? I like the conspiracy guys. Good to give them some time finally. And in fact, the fact that everyone got a hero dialogue, except Tendi, who kind of got a hero, but everyone else kind of got a set of scenes, especially Boimler, who's been sort of pushed past a little bit this season. I mean, it varies right throughout the season, but he hasn't had necessarily him as a hero. So they all got a chunk. I liked the conspiracy. That was fun. I kind of wish he went more on conspiracy, had more of those fun links, but the payoff was great. The baby thing was not my favourite pairing, but the idea of it was really fun. The sci-fi in this was really, really fun, so that held me over. The time thing was my favourite one, because as a concept and visualising it was really fun. And again, super cheap in that it's a cave set. You walk to it. But conceptually, sci-fi, you've never seen that before, so that was really good. The Turbolift was very underwhelming for me, because there was no story. Maybe that was the point. I thought they were all there also devalued it. I thought it was her in a Turbolift with someone else we hadn't seen doing a thing. But they all knew the story, so that was a kind of a fall on its face. That's the setup, right? There was no payoff in that for me. Not really. Like, we didn't learn anything from the first episode, except they didn't play season 1 them, they played season 5 them. I didn't get the chemistry of season 1, I got the chemistry of right now. Mariner felt like her present self, Boimler felt like his present self. There was none of that we met today vibe. They met that day. And then the ending was fun with the translator. I thought it was a really nice payoff as well. So, a lot of mediums, I'd say.
I agree with all that. And it hits some of the tropes that we've seen in Star Trek before, like the cave systems, a guy having a baby,
Enterprise flashbacks.
Yeah, people getting old, aging.
Yep.
There's not a lot to talk about, though, honestly. Like,
no ships, no tech.
well, we got that one-person vehicle. It seemed like
it was fine. There we go. It's my review.
It seemed like it might have been Starfleet tech, because Boimler was like, "Oh, somebody must have left here on another away mission," but at the same time, I don't think it was necessarily.
No, I didn't think of stuff. It looked Kazon to me. The shapes and the color, Yeah. I did think the fact that conceptually it was all a trap by the aliens again was quite funny. Could have done a bit more of that at the end, because those are from the animated series, I believe.
Yeah, the Vendorians are from the animated series,
and they have appeared as a background side extra in Lower Decks already. How did you feel then, being an animated series fan, to see these things get a pretty right there love letter?
I thought it was great, and I think that's one thing that animation can really do well, is highlight these more alien type creatures and do a very good job of it. It's just funny that the way they procreate with the laying eggs. Well, not eggs. They're young, and I don't know. And it's weird to get more backstory for them. And we didn't do the Klingon Civil War. They didn't say if they spread the rumor about warp drive destroying subspace.
I was waiting to be a really nice payoff. It almost got there. I was like, oh, that would have been a nice little retcon. Ooh.
Well, they didn't deny it. They denied the Klingon Civil War part, so
they could have been lying.
Who knows?
Right? They could have been the changeling for real. I mean, can this alien be a changeling to pretend to be a changeling and then get shot? Maybe he was Martok. They were Martok. Goodness.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff in here for sure. They're small little bite-sized stories, I guess, and it was great seeing them interact with other people, like the Delta shifters. And
oh god, that guy's leg was horrific. Oh, like, I'm sure he's fine, right? But like, oh god,
we'll just grow you a new one. It's like, oh well, can we go back for it just in case? I thought that was great. It included a bunch of Star Trek tropes and kind of threw them all together and mishmashed them a bit, and I thought it was kind of great.
Well, it felt like a homely story, because there was a recent Futurama episode where the entire thing is them doing 5 standalone stories, one where they're ducks, one where they're cars, but they play the A plot as a big plot, but they skip part of the story every time they do a cutaway to a different story. And so it feels as big, but there's like only 5 minutes of the main story, so it ends up feeling really hollow. This, I was wondering, so I went straight to that, because that was like 5 weeks ago, when I saw it anyway. I was thought, okay, we're doing one flashback, and then we're going to do fake flashbacks. Was it, like, the format I was wondering, I thought was pretty fine where they did it. But I do think it was basically like 5 B plots and no A plot, but they're all character based, right? And often cheap can be great. And I'm assuming that this was cheap as hell to afford bigger things in episodes 9 and 10. Because I was super underwhelmed by the lack of any main story. I actually forgot it existed, is how little it was presented. So they've kind of got to make a giant 2-part at the end.
Michael Mann had already said the next 2 episodes are focusing on the mystery ship, and it's going to be big. So
it's going to be.
Which I'm not going to be here for next week, by the way. So we'll have to record that earlier the week after. Just letting you guys know now. But anyway, yeah, I enjoyed it enough. It was very much not tied to the main arc at all, which is fine, I guess. There's like been 2 episodes, 2 or 3 this season, that have not even touched on the mystery ship. So I think it's fine. I think, yeah, they are just... It's the buffer until the finale. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fine. It was kind of fun, so...
Yeah, and whenever you're doing a hardcore... It's not filler, that's the wrong word. But when you're doing a hardcore small episode, they have to be really good ideas. It's like whenever I'm sort of forced to do a Trek Shorts that fills a gap, you have to always try and find a thing that's not been done before to really visually grab someone. It's not a gimmick, but it's an element of Trek we haven't seen. Maybe make it a Sonar villain or a Tholian, like something we don't often see. This, I thought, was close to achieving that. But because, of course, they were all in caves, visually it was dull as hell. And they couldn't get away from that. It was actually a gag, right? so you had to look past that. But I think we learned so much in general, and I did like just the uncomfortable vibe of you have friends outside of us. Because that's not even subject, that's the text of it. But of course, that's interesting as a double commentary, both to this episode, but also to the fact that high rank does mean different. They're not in the same corridor. They're not literally sleeping near the same shift. They have different lives. They're going to grow apart. It's fine. Doesn't mean you're going to grow apart as friends, but grow apart as seeing each other all the time. It was from the show's perspective, a giant character piece as growing up, right?
Well, that was interesting too, that each of these stories happened since they became lieutenant junior grades as well.
Yes.
Except for Tendy's. Tendy's was the only one where she was an ensign. So, because I was looking for that with the first one, I'm like, oh, because one said it was not that long ago, but I didn't think it would have been during this season kind of thing. So it was interesting to see him have the higher rank. Just goes to show how much we don't see of their mission. Just going to say that.
Yeah, which is very true. I mean, how much of their travels at warp? Lots. How much of their work is, it's important to remember. It's just so much as just doing and being. But I did want more conspiracies. Once you open that, because I really liked what the Dominion War's inside job. That's become an infamous line in a good way, right? That's like an iconic thing. I wish I had a little bit more of that. It's okay. Just that was really
cool. Levi is his name, yeah. And Wolf 359 was a tragedy. Q does exist. Picard is not a hologram, but the Doctor from Voyager is. Kind of covered like a few of his conspiracies there, so that was great.
Decent performance by him as well, because it's hard to, whenever you're a gimmick character, to transition from gimmick character to real character. It's like, oh, okay, in a good way. And I love, it's an interesting chap to follow, because what does he really believe? He's not doing it for attention. You definitely got that vibe, which is nice, right? But he clearly said, where we say things, because if he's just doing it to have sort of quote unquote fun and to be around and do things and be part of a community, it's when he pushes that into the real world, as it were. I mean, there's many websites, like there's communities that exist that are, it could be a banker by day and you're off doing a dom, whatever, the weird stuff, right? So that, I guess, is how he approaches that stuff. But then to hear him be like, stuff making up, and then the alien's like, oh yes, it's great to hear the real, the fake together so eloquently. It's like, okay. Like, it was really well handled, actually, because it made him three-dimensional, I think. And you want him to not be the guy that knows everything, in the sense that, because sometimes there's those characters in some media where they're spouting BS, oh wait, it's real. And you're like, oh, what else do they say that's real, right? So the fact that they played both sides of it, it could still be fake, it could still be, good. I like it.
Yeah, and even it makes you feel sad as well for Delta Shift. I mean, I've only seen the captain 5 times because everybody's sleeping when our shift's on. And, we're less likely to get promoted and stuff like that. It's like, oof, that's rough.
Never thought of that. Genuinely a little bit heartbreaking. Because, yeah, it's true. If it's who does everything else? I mean, though, raise more questions, right? Raise more questions. Good questions.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you thought about this episode down in the comments section. It was good.
It was just
yes,
different.
But not different. So let us know your thoughts on it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, do the notification bell icon, all that stuff. You know the routine. Do that thing.
You should by now. Done it for 9 years. Speaking of Stuart, this weekend is our Drunk Yard 9th anniversary bonanza. Saturday, join in. Oh, and sports. Sorry, I never do the anniversary thing. Support us monthly if you can via Patreon, or join the channel on YouTube. It's the join button, or super chat during any live or Drunk Yards live, or super thanks on any video of 9 years. My goodness. Or shirts. The link's down below. Or just keep watching. Or you could put a playlist of our videos on a second PC and let it run all year. This is the way.
So until the next cave mission, he is Commander Coggins.
Which won't be far, I'm sure. And he's Captain Foley.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.